Picture this. Route 287 in Montana. Rush hour. Commuters heading to work, coffee in hand, minds on their schedules. The road cuts straight through the heart of bear country. A fact most drivers forget as they speed along at 70 miles per hour. Welcome back to Wild Tale Rescue, where nature's most powerful stories unfold. I'm your storyteller, and what I'm about to share with you happened on a seemingly ordinary Wednesday morning. But it became a moment that would restore your faith in humanity. But on this particular morning, someone was about to remind them. A mother black bear named Luna, though no one knew her name yet, was about to do something that wildlife experts call unprecedented. She was about to stop traffic. Intentionally. Deliberately. Because her baby was in danger. Luna had been awake since dawn. She'd spent the early morning foraging for berries on the eastern ridge with her 6-month-old cub, a playful little male the rangers would later name Scout. Mother and cub had made this crossing before, from the berry patches on one side of Route 287 to their den in the pine forest on the other. Usually they crossed in the quiet hours before sunrise. But this morning Scout had wandered too far chasing a butterfly, and now it was rush hour. Luna stood at the forest edge, watching the river of metal and glass flowing past at deadly speeds. Her cub pressed against her side, sensing her hesitation. She sniffed the air, reading the danger in every vibration, every scent. But they had to cross. Their den was on the other side. Scout was hungry, tired, and vulnerable. Staying exposed on this side of the road meant risking encounters with larger predators or worse, human hunters. Luna made her decision. What happened next was captured on the dashcam of Thomas Chin, a wildlife photographer who happened to be driving to a shoot that morning. His footage would go viral within hours, but more importantly, it would save lives. Luna stepped onto the shoulder of the highway. Then, in a movement that stopped Thomas cold, she walked directly into the middle of the right lane. And she stopped. She didn't run across. She didn't dart between cars. She stood there, all 300 pounds of her, facing the oncoming traffic. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. This bear just walked out and stood there. Cars were slamming on their brakes. I thought there was going to be a massive pileup. But Luna wasn't being reckless. She was being strategic. She positioned herself to block traffic in the right lane while keeping her cubs safely on the shoulder. Then she turned her massive head and looked directly at Scout. The message was clear. Wait. For 30 seconds, an eternity on a busy highway, Luna held her ground. Cars stacked up behind her. Some drivers honked angrily. Others reached for their phones, already filming. But one driver, a truck driver named Maria Santos, understood immediately what was happening. I've driven this route for 15 years. I've seen bears before, but never like this. She wasn't confused. She wasn't lost. She was protecting her baby. I put on my hazards immediately and got out of my truck. Maria did something that would prove crucial. She stepped out of her 18-wheeler, arms raised, and began directing traffic in the left lane to slow down and stop. Other drivers saw her and began putting on their hazards. The line of stopped cars grew. But in the distance, speeding toward them in the left lane, was a silver SUV going at least 80 miles per hour. The driver was looking at his phone. Luna saw it before anyone else did. Her ears swiveled toward the sound. Her muscles tensed. The SUV was in the far lane, the lane she'd been planning to use to move Scout across. And it wasn't slowing down. Scout, seeing the cars had stopped, started to move toward the road. He was just a cub, he didn't understand the danger. He thought the path was clear. This is the moment that still gives Thomas Chin nightmares. Luna had a choice. Stay in position blocking the right lane, or rush to intercept her cub who was about to step into the path of an SUV traveling 80 miles per hour. She chose her cub. Luna lunged forward with a roar that shattered the morning air. Several witnesses later described it as primal, terrifying, and the sound of pure maternal fury. She caught Scout with her massive paw, sending him tumbling backward onto the shoulder. Just as the silver SUV blew past, its driver jerking up from his phone at the last second, eyes wide with shock. He missed them by maybe 3 feet. Maybe. If that mother bear had been 1 second slower, we would have witnessed a tragedy. The SUV skidded to a stop 200 feet down the highway. The driver sat frozen, hands shaking on the wheel, finally understanding how close he'd come to killing a mother and her baby. But Luna wasn't done yet. Now the entire highway off lanes as at a complete standstill. Maria Santos stood in the center of the road, directing traffic with the authority of a veteran trucker. Thomas Chin had his camera rolling. 47 vehicles sat with engines idling. And everyone waited. Luna stood on the shoulder, her cup pressed against her belly, both of them breathing hard. She looked at the stopped cars. At the humans standing outside them. At the clear path across the asphalt. Here's what's remarkable, she waited too. Wildlife behaviorist Dr. Jennifer Hartley later analyzed the footage and identified something extraordinary. Luna was assessing. She was making absolutely certain that the threat had passed. You can see her head moving, counting cars, reading body language. This wasn't instinct. This was intelligence. She was problem-solving in real time. For nearly 2 full minutes, mother and cub stood there. Scout looked up at his mother, confused but trusting. Luna kept her eyes on the humans. And then Maria Santos did something beautiful. She slowly backed away from the road, giving Luna a clear, wide path. She gestured to the other bystanders to do the same. Without words, she communicated to this wild mother. It's safe now. We're giving you space. I have 3 kids of my own. When I looked into that bear's eyes, I saw what I feel every time my children are in danger. That universal thing, fierce, desperate love. I just thought, I would want someone to help me too. She nudged Scout forward with her nose. Together, step by careful step, they walked across the highway. Scout stayed tucked under his mother's chin the entire way. Luna kept her body between him and the cars, still protecting, still vigilant. 47 people held their collective breath. When Luna and Scout reached the far shoulder, Luna paused. She turned back toward the stopped vehicles, toward Maria, toward Thomas, toward all the humans who had chosen patience over convenience. And then they disappeared into the forest. For 5 seconds no one moved. And then every single person on that highway broke into applause. Thomas Chen's dashcam footage was posted online that evening. Within 24 hours, it had been viewed over 15 million times. Within a week it sparked a movement. The Montana Department of Transportation installed new wildlife crossing signs along Route 287. Speed limits were reduced in that section to 45 miles per hour during dawn and dusk hours, prime wildlife movement times. Local schools began using the footage to teach children about wildlife safety and why we need to share our spaces with animals. But the most powerful impact was on the people who were there that morning. I was in such a hurry that day. Had a job, a deadline, things to do. But watching that mother bear, I realized none of it mattered. What mattered was that moment. That life. I drive differently now. I pay attention differently. People ask me why I got out of my truck. Wasn't I scared? And honestly, I wasn't thinking about being scared. I was thinking about being a mother. That bear needed help and I could give it. Simple as that. The driver of the silver SUV Ho asked to remain anonymous of an interview to local news 1 week later. His voice cracked as he spoke. I almost killed them because I was checking a text message. A text message that wasn't important, that wasn't urgent, that could have waited. I almost took a mother from her child because I couldn't wait 30 seconds. I'll never touch my phone while driving again. Never. Luna and Scout were later tracked by wildlife researchers using the area. Both are healthy and thriving. Scout is nearly full-grown now, and researchers have spotted him with his own mate. She's still using that same crossing point, but now she has help. Motion-activated lights flash when large animals approach the highway, alerting drivers. And a new wildlife overpass is being constructed half a mile north, bridge covered in earth and vegetation that will allow bears, elk, deer and other animals to cross safely above the traffic. They're calling it Luna's Bridge. First, wildlife crossings aren't random. Animals use the same paths their ancestors used for generations. When we build roads through these paths, we're not just inconveniencing wildlife, we're creating death traps. If Luna's story moved you, if it made you think twice about speeding through wildlife areas, if it reminded you to slow down and pay attention, then smash that like button right now. Share this video with everyone you know. Share it especially with new drivers, with people who commute through rural areas, with anyone who needs to be reminded that we're not alone on this planet. And subscribe to Wildtail Rescue. Hit that notification bell so you never miss another story of wildlife courage, human compassion, and the powerful moments that happen when the two meet. Drop a comment below. Have you ever encountered wildlife on the road? What did you do? Let's share our stories and learn from each other. From all of us at Wildtail Rescue, remember, every journey is shared. Every road crosses someone's home. And every moment of patience might save a life you'll never even know about. Drive safely. Pay attention. Respect wildlife. Until next time, stay wild, stay aware, stay compassionate.